Hi, this is the second video on how to read. And a spoiler alert, there is a third video also. In the first video, I talked about how you might think about each assigned reading. I suggested that you ask 3 questions that you can remember as why, how, and what. 1. Why are you reading it? Why should it be meaningful to you? This is about the information you expect to obtain from it. 2. How does it structure information? How does it logically present information to you, the reader? This is about how the internal framework or blueprint of its sections is designed. And 3, what style is it presented in? What characteristics does the reading have, such as its density of information and use of technical terminology, especially if it is presenting new ideas to you. This is about what language or wording choices the reading is comprised of. Notice that these 3 questions, why, how, and what, are in order of scope from macro to micro level concerns. Why read is overall purpose. How it's structured is internal logic or line of argument. And what language is used addresses terms and phrases used within the paragraphs and sentences. Before we look closer at how to use your answers to these 3 questions, let's first consider what happens during the act of reading. As you'd expect, when you read, your eyes are constantly scanning the page, following the lines of text. You may be less aware that your eyes also rapidly flick back and forth from the point where you are reading to previous words earlier on the page as you piece together the meaning of the sentences. In this physical sense, like with the mental sense, the work of reading is not linear. Through this process, your eyes are grabbing the perceptual information from the page, and this stream of data gets decoded by your brain. By the way, your optic nerves right behind your eyeballs are direct extensions of your brain tissue. It's important to remember that your mind is directing even the subconscious flicking eye movements around the page, primarily so that you can piece together and understand what's written. So, deciding what you hope to understand from reading and having a working plan for accomplishing this are important for effective reading because these will help your eyes and your mind as they scan the pages and make sense of what's written. In other words, too often we just sit down with the idea that we need to get some reading done and habitually just begin moving our eyes along the lines of text, which sadly puts us at a severe disadvantage for getting what we need during that precious time spent reading. Okay, so what are some examples of responses to these 3 questions? 1, why are you reading it? 2, how does it structure information? And 3, what style is it presented in? The most general question, why you are reading, can be answered in a variety of ways. You might be curious about how the author argues a controversial position, like a blog or in an op-ed piece. You might seek specific information, like the research methodology and results of a study. Or you might know that you should be familiar with the overall contours of the author's ideas and reasoning, like for an assigned course reading. The next question is more specific to the reading, which is about how it's structured. Is it one lengthy 50-page block of text? Or does it have a standard structure like a research study report with a lit review, methods and results, and conclusion? Or does the author segment it into subsections with descriptive titles? And finally, on a more granular level, the question, what style and language genre is it written in? highly technical with dense terminology like a scholarly journal article, or reporting fact-based events and statements by witnesses like in news stories, or dry and informational like most textbooks. Okay, so that's it for this second video on how to read. Before you move on to the third video, try thinking about some of the reading that you've done recently using these 3 questions and try to come up with responses. Ask why you read them or read them, how they were structured, and what style and language genres were they written in. In the next video, I'll explain how your responses to these questions should provide a working approach that will make the time you spend reading more effective and useful. Thank you.